welcome back to season 2 of Quarantine Conversations. This is episode 10 and our finale.
Yes.
And like always, we have Jonathan.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Jonathan.
And Kaimana.
Hi, everyone.
We are here live in the Youth Auditorium. That is the official name. Some people call it Youth Sanctuary, but that is not. We had a meeting a long time ago and decided to call it the Youth Auditorium. So that's what's in the blueprints.
Yep.
So we cannot change it.
Yes.
It is here. It is waiting for you guys to come back. This is the number 2 spot that everyone wanted us to record in. The number 1 spot was the roof. But here's the thing. It's really hot. It's Florida and there's no power.
Yeah.
So we need cameras to record us. So don't think that we don't listen to you. Just know
we would get
that
in
we
trouble
don't want to
too.
Yeah, a lot of
Hector
so
would be mad.
we couldn't do that, but it's okay. Also, major shout out to, I don't know what your name is, Andrea, whatever it is.
all of them.
You were the only person, you gave us a shout out, which was really great. Everybody else didn't really ask questions about what we wanted to talk about today. They didn't answer the question. But you did say this, no questions, just kind of sad. Quarantine Conversations is ending.
Aw.
Yep.
So major shout out to you. Thank you, our
Thanks,
one fan, our
girl.
number one and
we
one
only
fan.
need one
Yeah.
fan.
That's all we need.
That's all we need
That's
is
all
you,
we
Aaron.
wanted.
Hopefully
She
that's
makes us
your
famous.
Yeah.
name. Or
something
Andrea,
like that.
whatever
Yes.
it is.
She knows who she is.
Yes.
we
Thank
know.
you.
We know who you're not. So here we go. We're gonna play a little game, you guys. It's called Who's the Jerk?
I love games.
So I'm gonna give you guys a scenario, and you're gonna tell me who the jerk is. You may find these names familiar.
Yeah.
Did that
I
on purpose,
Okay.
I'm the
so that
jerk.
you can completely
feel it.
feel it.
Yeah, be in it.
And
yeah.
honestly, it's like easy. It's easy to understand when you put names that you
That's
know.
actually
I
true.
know.
Yeah.
The only thing that was confusing, I did have to ask her what her mom's name was.
Mm.
And
Oh,
it was
that's her
funny.
mom's real name.
Yeah, she
That's
was
so funny.
Rosemary. Yes, I was like, thanks.
That's perfect.
Yes. I know. I loved
Rosemary.
it. And then she was like, and I had to tell her why, because I was like, don't think that I'm going to send her a present.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to be clear. But here we go. Here's the
Send her a
story.
present.
Friends, Jessica and Jody, move into an apartment together.
Okay.
After they sign the lease, Jessica realizes she is severely allergic to Jody's dog.
Okay.
And medication isn't helping. Jessica asks Jody to give the dog away. Jody says no. Who's the jerk?
I mean, obviously it's Jessica. She's gonna die when she watches this, and we're using her name in vain like
She
this.
doesn't
but
watch this.
That's true. Jessica, don't watch this one.
Yeah, don't. This
Turn
will be
it
the one she
off.
watches.
Everyone's going to
Yeah.
text her.
No, but you don't. It says after they signed the lease, she realized she was allergic. So that's just too bad. So sad.
Yo, dad.
Yeah, at the same time though, like that's a lot of it's I don't know. I've been in situations like this. So it's like stuff is already decided and yeah, somebody miscommunicated, but what are you going to do about it now?
Okay.
I think
Who's the jerk? Say it.
The dog is like a living, breathing
Human.
creature.
I
I was gonna
understand.
say person. The dog is a person.
yeah,
That's the
but
problem
like
with
Jessica's actually a person. So
Aw.
I think
Who's the jerk? Say
I
it.
think Jody is the jerk.
Oh.
That is
it's a
crazy.
tough way to put it,
Uh-huh.
but you've already signed the lease and that's the big thing to focus on here. The solution
But
is
the
not to
dog is
remove the
in
human.
the lease. I feel like.
The solution is to remove the dog.
So-
and also, I think it's just
So
easier.
like put the dog to sleep?
No,
you want
I
Jody
don't-
to
he
kill her
wants
dog?
he wants the dog to
No,
die.
I
That's
didn't
what
say
he
that.
wants.
Aw, Hennessy.
I didn't say that, but
No, I
I
love
just
her.
think that, you know, obviously Jessica needs to think twice about moving into places with people next time. But in this circumstance, yeah, we gotta do something about the dog. So
I
Jody's
kind
the
of think
jerk.
this is a cop-out answer, so I'm going to not try to use it again, but I do think neither is the jerk. Because I don't think Jessica has allergies on purpose, but I don't think
I think
Jody
she
should
does.
have to remove the dog.
I
Okay.
think
They
it's
just have to
crazy
deal with it.
ask someone to give their dog away.
Yeah.
Like, I will punch you in the face.
But
I don't even
hold
like
on,
my
but-
dogs right
but
now,
not-
and I
not-
still wouldn't give them
Not
away.
to give the dog away, but like, you know, it has to move in
She
with
said
your parents
Jessica
or something.
asked
That's
Jody
pretty gutsy
to
to
give the
ask
dog
that.
away.
No, someone
I
literally
can't even believe that conversation.
insulted my cat on Instagram. My cat passed away several years ago, and I was mad enough to tell several people the story.
yeah,
They
that's
still
ridiculous.
made a comment about it, and I'm like, shut up about my dog. I hate you and your children. That's what I wanted to say.
That's
Did I
fine.
say dog? I meant cat.
That's fun.
Oh, was it?
It was my cat.
No, I
Yeah,
think you said cat.
Blossom.
I think you said cat.
No, you
It
said
was
dog
Blossom. Did
you
just
really?
now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
I
literally.
was
And
listening.
I almost, I for real, if they watch this, I almost insulted their children. That's how bad it hurt.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was just
that's
one little
your-
statement.
That's your dog. That's your cat.
All right, I don't know what it's like to
Macaque.
have a pet like that, so maybe that's where I'm coming from. But
No,
I just
I
think if
just
the
like
lease is
I would
signed
want to
already,
walk. I would want to walk little Hennessy in here That's Jody's dog, and have you tell her, hey, bud, you're
See,
going to go live with someone
You're
else.
making this way too real now because this is just hypothetical. These aren't real characters. These are just names.
I will remember
Don't do
you.
this.
And
I'm
you
gonna
have
start-
to take her to the pound.
See,
It's not
you
all right.
will remember me.
Nobody has to die in this story. I think we'd all be okay if we figure out the living situation. But yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, let's move on. Let's get it. We'll go less personal.
Yeah.
Kaimana offers to treat Jonathan to dinner.
Uh-huh.
I'm so nice.
I just picked a name. Kaimana's very.
That's,
It's like
yeah,
Mike. Mike
you saw it in
Kaimana.
like a gift shop.
Yeah. Kaimana offers to treat Jonathan to dinner. Kaimana orders a large pizza to share and eat at her house. Jonathan takes the leftover slices home. Kaimana is upset because she was looking forward to eating them the next day. Who's the jerk?
The answer to this question is
brother.
Kaimana's a jerk.
Oh,
That's
'cause you
just
wanna
because of the
say it?
names.
No.
Okay.
It's because
Absolutely not.
it's because if you buy someone food,
Okay.
it's their food.
Okay.
Now, pizza, it's a blurry line because it's like, unless you're splitting it right down the middle, it's like whose is who, So,
Right.
but if I buy someone, pizza and I'm the one that reached out to them, I invited them. Why do I get to look forward to eating leftovers the next day? I don't think that's right. So Kaimana's a jerk in this story, and that's
biased.
that.
Say it one more time because it felt good.
Kaimana's the jerk in this story.
This is really going to affect our personal friendship.
Don't
This
ever
is the
invite me over for
problem.
pizza if you expect leftovers the next day.
I was
Please.
actually going to invite you over for pizza, but it's
No.
fine. I feel like Jonathan is the jerk.
Of course
Okay.
you do.
Just because if someone buys me dinner, so if we like buy each other spaghetti,
Uh-huh.
right? And I wanted his leftover spaghetti, I think that'd be crazy. But I'm like, here's a shared dish and I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
So then I would never even ask to take leftovers. But I mean, like, I have friends who'd be like, take it. I don't want to eat it. Like, because all my friends don't like leftovers and I
Yeah.
like leftovers. So if it's offered, like, hey, this is for you, bud, then it's cool. But I would never, like, take something someone bought for me and be like, I'm going to take it home
Yeah.
too. Because
But-
I would feel awkward.
But it was for me though.
See, the problem is there's a bias because of the names.
Well, all right. So change the names, and I'm still
Yes.
all right. So let's say
Jonathan bought me dinner, a pizza that
Yeah.
we shared.
yeah.
And then I was like, let me take these pieces home.
Well, maybe that does change it.
Right?
Just 'cause
And then
the
Jonathan's
just 'cause the
playing,
names
like,
move
Jonathan
around.
or-
video
large
games
pizza
late
to
at
share.
night. He's
No,
like,
no,
man,
no.
I wish I had a
Kaimana
pizza.
takes
No.
the leftover pizzas home. Kaimana's upset. Jonathan's upset because he was looking forward to eating it the next
Why would
day.
I be looking forward to that? It's not mine.
doesn't?
I
Look,
gave it
someone
to
else-
someone else. Yeah, like I
But
don't
it just
know.
says treat Jonathan to dinner. It doesn't say I'm going to get like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
pizza
yeah. But
with
at that
your
point, you've made it all
face
about
and
me. So
pepperonis
it's like
on
my
it.
celebration. It's whatever.
It's not your
you're-
birthday.
Whatever it is, you're treating me to pizza. So it's my pizza.
Pizza.
This is getting really personal here.
I'm going to
Kaimana.
send a
I
pizza
think
to your house.
I'm
it's
with
mine.
Kaimana. I think Jonathan is the jerk.
Yeah.
But I did realize a caveat: if the pizza is there, and like you take a slice, you take 4 slices.
As usual.
And
Yeah.
then you eat one, and then there's 3 left over because you're like, oh, I'm not hungry anymore. At that point,
That's
I wouldn't
true,
get
yeah.
mad because I'm like, oh, it's already on your plate. So
Yeah.
you could have planned it to go, this is
That's
the only
true.
way. So I'm like, can I take these home?
Yeah.
And then
That's
I
true.
wouldn't be, even though I'd be like, oh, darn, but I wouldn't be mad at, I'm solving the
No.
problem though, which is
Yeah.
not the point of the
Right,
game.
right,
But
yeah.
in my mind,
Don't do
but
that.
I do think if you're going to someone's house, like, unless they offer it, you shouldn't just go, I'm going to take this home.
Gio,
But I
like,
do think some people are like, can I have that? Can I take it
yeah,
home?
which is like awkward, but then you're like, okay,
Yeah.
take it. But I also like if someone was treating me to dinner, like anyone I know that was treating me to dinner, they would also offer like, oh, just take the rest home. I don't want it.
Yeah, that's what I would do if I'm inviting somebody over. I'm thinking, okay, I'm in generous mode, so everything is give to you. So hey,
Yeah.
come over for pizza, order pizza, eat the pizza, and then also any leftovers, you take the pizza.
I know, like, whatever. During when Gio went for his little bachelor weekend before he got married, he came back with a horrible story that I won't tell because it involves too many people we know.
Oh, shoot.
But basically, like, everyone split a huge amount of pizza. Like, they split paying for it. And then someone in the bachelor party decided, I'm going to eat all the leftovers myself, even though we all split it. So when it all came to the light, there were words exchanged and there was chasing around the house because how rude
Oh,
to just
man.
expect that you can have the leftovers. So it
Yeah.
reminds me of that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Next scenario. Kara's wedding is the day before her grandma's birthday. Her mom, Rosemary, thinks it would be nice if Kara would include a birthday cake for grandma at the wedding reception. Kara says no. Who's the jerk?
No.
This is such a tough one. It really is. But my answer is that the
Are you
jerk,
picturing your grandma?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. The jerk here is Kara.
Kara's the jerk.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because your grandma should be someone that's really special to you. So special that you would make her day synonymous with your day. So it's not the main event. It's not what everyone's there for, but it's still, maybe in the wedding photos, you see, oh, it's her birthday. The next day, so we're celebrating it here. So to say no to that.
I can't tell if you're being ornery right now or
No,
you really agree with
no,
this.
I'm thinking about my own grandmother.
He's thinking about his grandma.
I mean, he is
On
super
my-
tight with his grandma. That's kind of
on
why I got
my
comment.
wedding day. If
he's
my
also the
mom
boy.
came to me and
Right.
said, hey, can we have I'm like, what? Can we spend more time focusing on that than my own wedding? Like, 100%. So, yeah.
No, I would think that the mom's a jerk. Sorry, Rosemary. But like people's weddings are not about anyone but those people.
Yeah.
And I've talked, especially because Jonathan's a boy. If he was to take that question to his
Future bride.
like, hey, next to our cake, can we have a grandma cake? And she said no. Like, she would get her way because I feel bad for a lot of people planning weddings because they end up doing a lot of things to please their parents and please their whatever, all this stuff. And I always feel bad for like the bride because she is supposed to be planning like a good day for herself. And then it's like, oh, but this is actually a day for this person, this person, this person. And then it's like no fun.
Yeah.
So then they almost dread the wedding day. And I feel like all that is backwards. So I just feel like whatever anyone wants on their own wedding day, they can do.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you don't have to go. You don't have to be happy about it. You can talk about it later. But I just have seen almost wedding days kind of like ruined a little bit because everyone wants to be pleased. And I just think that's unfair.
Yeah. I think Rosemary's the jerk for even asking.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like
the
sometimes
asking
people-
is crazy.
I can't stand it when people ask questions that makes you answer in a certain way and it makes the person look like a
Yeah.
jerk. When I was just minding my own business, I was like, you asked me this, so now I am officially a jerk because
Yeah.
you know you're asking me,
But
you know my heart, you know my mind, you know what I should say, and you're going to ask me anyway so I can be a jerk out loud, and I hate it
But
when
I
I'm
don't
in
have
that
a problem.
position.
They give me the right to be that, like in that situation. So I'm with a smile on my face. I'm like, no, like
I hate it.
I hate it too. But I also give it back
Like
to them in a way.
literally,
if you know what I mean?
even in quarantine, people have asked to like come to service, and we're under strict rules and strict whatever, and they're like, "Can I come? So and so
Yeah.
told me to ask you."
Yeah.
So and they know the rules, so
Yeah.
instead of just deading it, they make me be the jerk.
Yeah.
And I always go, I'm like, it stinks that they made me be the jerk. Now I
Yeah.
think they're the jerk.
Yeah, I'm thinking of situations where my brothers have put me in that spot,
Yeah.
and I
hate
really
it.
have no problem
I just
telling
feel
them
like,
like,
I'm
But that's your
the jerk
brothers,
yeah.
enough
I
to
So
know,
feel
maybe
like-
maybe it'd be different in a scenario like that or something
Yeah.
more public. That's Well, I just still think
have
that
Kara's
grandma
the
in your
Kara's the
heart.
jerk.
she
yeah.
should share her day.
No.
Whoa.
No, listen. As you were talking, I realized like there is a lot to what she was saying, and I wouldn't know that because I've never been in that position.
You never been
So-
married before?
Never.
Oh.
No, I know.
I
Shocker.
thought
You ever
I
been a
knew
bride?
you.
But
You know what they say.
but as she was talking, I was like, oh, that would really stink to be in that situation, and I believe that. Like, I believe that happens.
I'm picturing Jonathan in a wedding dress right now.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't ever want to
This
picture that.
conversation-
Wrong song.
And he's graduating.
So like no, so in that scenario, I would be like, yo, no, okay, so no birthday cake, but I'd still be like, yo, you're a jerk, but quietly. But that's it. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Laura has her relatives over to meet her new baby. New baby happens to be named Jericho. Her
good
sister
name.
Sonia wears a designer sweatshirt, and the baby spits up on it. Sonia wants Laura to reimburse her for the very expensive sweatshirt. Laura thinks that's ridiculous. Who's the jerk?
I just think it's funny because real Sonia would never want Lauda to reimburse her for something. She would
Correct.
like buy her another sweatshirt herself. But yeah, I don't know why you'd wear a designer sweatshirt to see a baby.
see a baby.
I think it's like wearing one to see a puppy. Like it's gonna pee on you most likely. So yeah, I would say no to that.
Yeah, Sonia's the jerk here. And
Why'd you look at her so
the reason-
intensely?
did
when you
I?
said
I'm just like,
that?
that's the answer. I think, and here's why, because like I've worn like nice sneakers and nice things around certain things where I've thought about, wow, that'd be tragic if this happens or this happens, whatever. But then I realized like I know that ahead of time.
Yeah.
So to reimburse, I don't know. It's just funny because it's a baby. It's like anything can happen. Let me wear this Gucci
Like
jacket
the baby
or
has to
whatever.
reimburse you.
In real life, Lado would offer to pay for it. In real life, I genuinely think that the Lado's the jerk, the mom's the jerk, whoever's in charge the jerk. I do think that.
Really?
Because if I'm
Who's
going to
in
your house and
charge?
like anything, like if you're in a store and your child breaks something, then I'm gonna pay for it. Like it's
makes
my child,
sense.
I'm responsible. So like even like by law, if your child does something, like the parents are responsible. So I do think it is your duty. Here's the thing: it's your duty to go, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I'll pay for it, I'll have it clean, I'll whatever. But I think it's also very polite. No, it's fine.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
good. But I do think the offer should be made. I think that's the right thing to do, and people don't do the right thing anymore. And I
Wow,
think
it's a
it should
perfect
be you should
segue.
take responsibility for your baby. And even though it's my sister, like literally she better stinking offer to pay for it. But at that point, I'd be like, Laura's fine.
Oh,
But you
okay.
know what I'm saying? And if she doesn't, I would be hurt. So I think that Laura's the jerk for telling
I think
me
I
no.
would offer to pay, but then I would be super mad if they said yes. Because I'd be like, you came over to see my baby and you wore that
I
Gucci
wouldn't offer.
sweatshirt?
Yeah.
So then if they
What if
said
it's
yes,
just like
that'd probably
a
be the end
Walmart
of the
t-shirt?
friendship. That's fine.
Yeah,
I would
no one
still
should say anything
offer.
that-
If it's your
no,
kid, like you
no,
still
no,
have to
no.
offer.
No, to
But
me,
I'm
at
like,
that
I just
point-
feel like it's an honor to come see the
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
Like this is a prized possession.
You can tell she's a mom now. That it's this like whatever, but you have
That's
to take
true, though,
responsibility
yeah.
for your kid, or even just like whatever. Like at any point, if there's always leakage problems out of every orifice of a child. My sister's always like, I'm so sorry. And she, even if like we go to clean it, I'm so sorry. She like
Yeah.
instantly takes over to clean to whatever because
Yeah, it is polite.
it's her child. It's not my child. Like it's your responsibility. You got to take responsibility. It's not somebody else's
I
responsibility.
guess like if my dog peed on someone when they were at my house, I would pay for it. But I'd be
Not
like, well,
Elisha.
Well,
yeah,
that-
not
but that's-
Elisha.
that's
I'd be like,
more
that's
so-
so cute. He peed on you.
Yeah,
Is
but
that
like-
so cute?
but if I go to your house though, and I have just expensive shoes on, let's say, like,
Mm-hmm.
and your dog pees on them,
Yeah.
should I really expect her to pay for the shoes?
I
Then
think
I
she
would
should
pay
offer.
for them because my dogs are annoying and they probably would do that. So then I'd be
That's
like,
the
embarrassed.
polite
I
thing to do.
But I know that going there though,
But you're
that's
going
a
over there to bring
possibility.
her pizza to treat her.
I don't need nice shoes to do that. If I chose to wear them, then they get ruined. It's my fault.
But I would make like a
Man.
disclaimer if I was like, Jonathan always wears nice stuff to my house. I'd be like, hey, don't wear the nice stuff this
If you
time.
come to my house, I'm gonna take care of you, just so you know.
so I can wear whatever I want.
Yeah,
Okay.
You can
And
take
it's-
the
Gotcha.
leftovers
Here's the thing:
home.
if you say like, like if you have guests at your house and they break something, like I understand that, but I just think you should always offer. Oh, I'm so sorry, I plugged up your toilet. I'm like, okay, you know,
well,
like
that's
I'm so
horrifying.
sorry.
Yeah.
I peed on your bed. Like I don't know whether it's a child or whether it's Jonathan.
How would this?
You know what I'm saying? I think that you should offer to. You should be a good guest, and I should be a good host.
How would this happen? What would lead up to this happening?
You were mad.
Oh my
Jonathan
God.
peed
You
on
were
my
mad
bed.
because he
Oh
took
my-
the pizza.
Yeah, so
You're like, "What?" And Elijah,
Why
peed on your
is he
seat.
laying in my bed at
Right,
my house
like, in-
while I'm out there with the baby?
in
Why
designer
did he pee
shoes
in
and
it?
jackets and stuff.
I don't care who pees. Somebody needs to offer to take care. You have to be a good host. It's integrous, you guys. It's integrous.
It is. It is. Yeah.
You want to be incomplete? Fine by me. There was a
Wow.
lizard in my house last night, and I literally wanted to
Did you
die.
offer him
If there's
Yeah.
one thing that I
Did it
can't
pee?
handle, it's a lizard. He probably did
Yeah.
in my mouth.
Probably.
And it literally ruined my life. And I just couldn't. I just sat there because I can't even call an exterminator. I can't. And that's the one thing I could. Roaches. I would rather eat a roach than see a lizard in my
Are
bed.
you serious?
I promise to God. And I can do iguanas. I can do
gosh.
snakes. I can
Just
do
the good
I
old-fashioned
cannot-
lizards.
because I don't know what to do with it. It's too big
Oh.
to kill. Sorry,
That's
it's too
true.
big to sound guy. It's too big to kill.
Editors.
And it's not like I can hold it. I will lick a snake. I would
That's crazy.
and I literally, I
love
found
lizards.
myself debilitated. I was broken and bruised, and I didn't know what to do. And it's like 11 o'clock at night, and I just sat there. And then I was even more disgusted with myself. And I'm like, I'm literally all this quarantine time, and for the first time, I feel like the Lord has forsaken me. And I'm just
man.
staring at it.
yeah.
Turned the light off. I was just pacing, and then I went back and I saw it in my bathroom. I was like, okay. So like I grabbed disinfectant, bleach, everything, and nothing kills those stupid
Yeah,
things.
they're-
I
yeah,
texted
they'll
my
live
sister.
forever.
She apologized because she understands like my brokenness.
Wow, that's crazy.
And then like I froze it in time because I think it just kind of freezes.
Yeah,
And
they
it was
do
really
that.
pale. So I think it was a
They're weird.
gecko
Yeah,
or
they-
like
yeah.
a dinosaur.
Yeah,
I don't know
they're
what
weird.
it was.
Could be a dinosaur.
So then I think it's dead. I went to go sweep it into like a dustpan.
And
Well, of course it moved. Got it in there. Ran outside to go dump it. And then I like put it out. And of course it's just, walking away. And I sat there like out of breath. And I really even couldn't go to sleep because I'm sure it laid eggs in my hair.
That's hilarious.
So who's the jerk?
Who's the jerk?
The
I
lizard.
am, obviously, because I shouldn't be afraid of a lizard.
I feel like when I see lizards in my house, I'm
They're
like,
very fast.
hey, bud, like,
Man,
Yeah,
I wish I
enjoy
could.
your stay.
Yeah, I don't
Because
worry
it's
about
just, I
them.
can't
But
do
I
anything
Googled
about
it.
them.
I thought about, and I'm telling myself, and I just literally just felt so
They are so like
forlorn and
wormy,
so
though,
sad.
around.
I literally just sat there and I'm like,
I know what you
am
mean by like
sad.
too big to kill, like to
yeah, 'cause you
squish.
can't
Like
like
it's not a thing.
stomp
Yeah.
on it. That's
They're
horrible.
also
And I
very
don't wanna
fast,
grab
too.
it.
Ugh.
Max will bring lizards into our house, and he'll have them in his mouth and spit them
That's
out.
a good sign, though. He's trying
But
to
he-
bring food to the home.
Yeah.
He's
Trying.
well,
He thinks cats
about
do that
time
more than
for
dogs.
him to do
But
something.
if they think their owners are too stupid to get food because
Yeah,
they never see you, so
that's
they
what
catch
he
it.
thinks
we
it's
are.
an offering. It's
So
his
he's the
tithe and
jerk.
I hate it.
offerings.
Yeah.
I
Aw.
hate it.
Max.
But then he has to kill it, and we have to open
Does he
his
pee on your
his
bed
claws.
like Jonathan?
Oh my
He probably has
gosh.
peed on our bed before,
Yeah.
so
For you not giving
we
me
deserve
pizza.
the lizard.
Yeah.
Anyways, on that note, we're going to continue our conversation. This is our final conversation, and we're going to tie everything up with one big bow. I feel like as believers, if we combine all 9 seasons into one word, as believers, it would be this word. It would be integrity.
Yup.
Yes.
I'm like, this is what we need to have. This is what we should have. This is something that we could always strive to be better at.
Yeah.
So here we go. You guys, what is integrity to you?
I've always defined integrity as taking the version of yourself that you work so hard to have other people believe exists and actually being that person. Like I've always seen it as that, because I've been like somebody who I've kind of spectated myself in this area, especially since internship in my first year, which was 6 years ago at this point. Like I've always seen
gosh.
like, I know time
You're
flies
old.
crazy, right? I know.
Anyways.
But yeah, like I've always spectated myself in the sense of like, how hard are you working to portray something? You know what I mean? And I've thought about that a lot, and I've thought, well, it's not bad that you try to portray something, but it is bad if you're so comfortable with a divide between portraying it and being it.
Yeah.
Like I think blurring that line and really taking that person and becoming that person, that's always been how I've defined integrity. Because I mean, if you genuinely are trying to portray a good person, you know what I mean? Especially somebody who loves God and who loves ministering and all this stuff, like just taking that and really being it in the times where nobody can see it.
Yeah.
You're not in a platform, you're not leading a small group, you're not doing any of that stuff, you're not in a public eye whatsoever. That's what integrity is to me, is taking that version of yourself that you want people to believe exists and actually having it exist.
I like that. I just have like 3 words. Not a good explanation like that, but I just think it's sound, honest, and moral character. It's just like you're a good person.
Yeah. I always kind of defined it just wholeness,
Yeah.
like complete.
Yeah.
Even that, like just the scripture talks about being complete, lacking in nothing. Like there's no
Yeah.
lack
Yeah.
in you. So it's just looking at like there's no lack,
Mm-hmm.
and then no shadiness whatsoever. That's
Yeah.
what I put. Those are my 3 words.
Very sunny.
Like no shadiness at all whatsoever. Okay. What are some attributes people with or of integrity have? Whichever one to say it.
I think that one way to just automatically know when someone has integrity is they're just transparent. Like there's just not any sort of like darkness in them to where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm not allowed in there. I remember like reading some kind of quote that basically says you don't have to have a good memory if you never lie. And I think that's such a tell too. Like
Yeah.
when you talk to people and they're so calculated about what they say around you.
That's real.
Yeah.
That's such a red flag of like, okay, so you must be constantly trying to think, what does this person know about this narrative? What does this person know? What
That's
have I told
wild.
them?
Yeah.
And so I always can spot that in people when they're so guarded in how they talk. And I also think people with integrity, they're just generally trusted and respected.
Yeah.
Like their name is just, when it's brought up, it's brought up in like a high esteem.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can like fake that because it's really the public's opinion.
Yeah.
you
Like
know?
Pastor Carl.
Yeah, like
You
Pastor
bring
Carl,
his name
he's
up
just
in the
like
city
it's
to
like
the cashier.
golden.
People
Yeah.
are like, oh, like
Yeah.
everywhere I've been to,
That's
like
so
just
true.
traveled.
Yeah.
And I mean, they brought up his names in like random students' classes in Southeastern too.
Carl Stevens.
Just like, oh, like
Yeah.
right away, there's just like a moment of
Yeah.
silence. And I'm like,
Right.
100.
We pledge allegiance.
I've played drums at just a lot of different churches over the years,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
me too.
almost every one of them, like I'll mention Faith Assembly, and they'll say Pastor Carl, and I'll say yes, and then the whole room.
yeah,
Just,
it's just like
It's like-
silence.
no, I mean there was
covers
this
the
one.
crowd.
There was this one so far away, or it wasn't that. I mean, it was in Bithlo, so I just didn't think there was any association with it at all.
like Antarctica.
Tampa.
Yeah, and so the pastor there,
Goldenrod.
he was asking us where we were from. It was me and a couple other people, and we said, Faith Assembly, and then he asked Pastor Carl, and I said, yes, Pastor Carl. And like this church that was to me so far away from here, he was like, yeah, 20 years ago, he really helped us get started here.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, wait, is that
What?
real? Like, it's the craziest thing. So
I was,
yeah,
I was on a
exactly.
mission trip to Spain a couple years
Yep.
ago. We were working with this church, working with this missionary. We had a special service. A lady comes up to me. She wasn't from that church. She was from a different church in Spain.
Yeah.
Okay. She drove at least an hour to get there. Okay. And she is a teacher, and she's a Christian teacher working in Spain trying to bring the gospel. And she said she wanted to come and meet us from Faith Assembly because she came to this church, to Pastor Carl Stevens about 4 years before that. And her church wouldn't even support her, but she went with Pastor Carl and he gave her money, and she's a missionary to this day, was here, and she needed to meet the people where Pastor Carl was from.
No.
I was just, and I'm in the Canary
hate this
Islands. This
story.
woman came to find us.
Like-
It was us. We're sitting there picking our
Right.
nose. You know what I'm saying? And she knew Pastor Carl was there, but she wanted to come
That's
meet us because
crazy.
we supported her, and she was still doing it. She was still killing it. And she was this very,
my
very nice
gosh.
lady. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, oh wow,
Yeah.
okay,
I'm in a
like
moment
I
of
am.
silence right now.
It's just it's
No, that's
crazy.
mind blowing.
So
You can only dream of that
integrity,
level of
yes.
integrity, right?
What are some attributes of people
yeah.
besides Pastor Carl?
Pastor Carlness.
Like, yeah, you have to be Pastor Carl. I've noticed that people I consider, somebody of integrity, they don't, it kind of relates to an episode a couple episodes back, but they don't have a lot to say in regards to gossip or things that are potentially
Yeah, that's
gossip
good.
opportunities. Like they're very, I don't want to say soft spoken, but they're not quick to ask, oh, what did this person say? Or like, what
Yeah,
about this? Or what about
that's
this?
good.
So I don't know. I wanted to say quiet, but that's not true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not everyone I consider a person of integrity is like a quiet person, but there's almost like this feel of like quietness about them when certain
Yeah.
things come up, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are very quick to also like defend people who aren't there.
Yeah.
Like I love that
Yeah.
attribute because that's something I'm working to get better on. Like if
Yeah.
somebody's not here, like let me maybe argue for them because right now it's just an echo chamber of opinions
Right.
that go against that person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like I don't know, it's a person who I consider a more calm and quiet demeanor and a defensive one when it comes to things that they don't know about.
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
they don't know about in
I
situations
think like
that.
that's interesting because I don't know, maybe all of us have experienced this, but I've been in a time where I've like been, counseled sort of like two friends in a fight or whatever,
Yeah.
or just they're
Tiff.
having a riff, and like it's funny because there'll be the one friend who just rips the other one to shreds, like
Yeah.
to me, and I'm like, okay, blah blah blah, and then the other friend who doesn't rip the friend to shreds.
That's
And then I'm like,
interesting, yeah.
technically, I know more of the story from this person, but because of how seamlessly they were trying to throw another one under the bus in front of me,
Right.
I now
Yeah.
believe this person,
Right.
even though they haven't really talked about it.
Yeah.
I automatically believe that they're in
Isn't
the
that
right.
crazy?
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
Because
that's-
I don't know any information from them.
Yeah.
But I just know.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. I feel like it's funny. The one thing that I was going to mention in the gossip podcast, voice cast, you want to listen to it?
Please do.
Was the fact that whenever they're like, oh, I hate him. Oh, I hate her. And when you actually like tell people, okay, like people tell me something, I'm like, okay, I'll go confront it.
Oh, yeah.
And every single time I've ever confronted someone, that's why I always think like, just drop it. You don't have to talk about it. I'm like, hey, I heard this. They're just like, I didn't say that. Well, I didn't mean
Right.
this. And then you go, well, I didn't mean that
Right.
either. Wait, if you've ever literally put two people in the same room
Oh,
together,
yeah.
they literally will always backpedal
Oh, yeah.
and say, I didn't mean it that way. And it blows my mind that we still think we should confront every issue.
Yeah.
I'm like, but whenever you like put people together at that point, there's just this like,
Everyone backs down.
yeah, like, and it's just like, okay, well then it was just, you could tell that it was just gossip. It was
Yeah.
just meaningless. There was no point in even talking about it.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of empty.
A lot of emotion. Yeah.
Which nothing to do with like truth.
Yeah.
I do think one other thing that I will add to you guys, to what you guys said is like, I think someone with integrity, that you can count on them.
Yeah.
Like for real, count on them. 24/7 through thick and thin, all the time. And it's not that they're always saying yes, because some people think that. It's not just yes, and they overextend themselves.
Yeah.
And it's not even like when you say, I know how to say no. I'm like, no, you just say no too much because you're
Right.
lazy. It's literally their yes is yes and their no is no, and that's it. And you can count on them. Like, and I adore,
like the best
adore
attribute
that. Yeah,
in
like
someone.
and whatever it is, whether it's just like, okay, like you're going on a trip, so you've made your payments. Okay, like you're in a production, lines are memorized.
Yeah.
You know, it's like those stupid little things, or that things that you don't realize that you just kind of watch, but like they don't ever let me down. And it's
Yeah.
not even like
Yeah.
they're perfect, because even if they make a mistake, it's like, hey, there was a car accident, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna be late. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like they told me. They don't just
Yeah.
let me believe or let me whatever. They give me reasons. So it's not perfection. I'm like, but I can always count at them, and I adore that.
Yeah.
think that's
It's so
good.
interesting too how those areas aren't like it, like in and of itself. It's not like, oh, that's integrity that you I don't know, studied hard for this, or that you prepare whatever. It's just a symptom of integrity.
Yeah.
Like somebody
Yeah.
who
Exactly.
is integrous, like it's just, I don't know, it's just something that they do, and it's not even like special to them. It's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like a lot of people are coming to mind right now where it's like, wow, they display that, and then you could trace it back to, oh, they are a person of integrity. It's
Yeah.
very
Right.
interesting. So I very
That's
much
what
agree
I
with
think
that.
the wholeness. That's where like the wholeness comes into play. It's like they're just a whole person. There's not.
That's a perfect way of
lack in
describing
them.
it.
And I think a lot of people they flat out lie.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't understand. And it's like I said, once again, I just want to harp on that. It's not being perfect,
No,
but it's just going, oops,
You're just
I messed up. I'm
honest
sorry.
through
I'm
and through.
gonna
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just, it's you kind of share your story, share what happened,
Yeah.
and then you just accept that. And also that story doesn't ever change. They don't
Right.
go to someone else and go, oh, I lied, I slept in, or I
Yeah.
this, blah blah blah.
I
Or
think
you know,
that-
I slept in.
Right. I think that like also when you have integrity, people will defend you. Like you don't even have to be around
Yeah.
because people I'm thinking of, like if they were to be late somewhere, first of all, my first instinct would be like, what happened? Are they okay? Because they're never late. So I'd be
Yeah.
like, first of all, worried for their safety.
Yeah.
And second of all, I'd be like, I would just assume, I'd be like, there has to be such a good explanation for this.
Yeah.
Like something happened to where I don't even necessarily ask them why, because I'm like, they're probably like embarrassed that they're late because they're never late.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
Yeah,
things where
very
like
true.
your reputation speaks for yourself in that way. So when you do come up in conversations again, it's always like someone's there to see the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also seen that pretty recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just need to learn that too, that it's so much better to be honest
Yeah.
and just forthcoming
And it's fine.
than to just make up an excuse and hide.
yeah.
Like, there's 7 aspects of integrity. Like, actually, if you look on the internet, there's either 24, there's 7, there's 82, there's 59. But I went ahead and I just chose the 7 because I
That's
figured it
fine.
was easier.
Yeah.
And one of them, the first ones that you guys I'll go down the list, but you guys can comment as I say or not comment, is honesty. Like,
Yeah.
that's just it. And people need to tap into that. Like, I think in our reality, like people just like, they don't want to let you down. That's what they say, and they just lie. They just
Yeah.
lie, and this and this and this, and they come up with a million
Yeah.
excuses, and it's just like, no, just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine.
As I've gotten older too, I've realized like it's so much better just to be honest about where you've just messed up.
Yeah.
It's so much
Yeah,
better.
it's the best.
Just really because of this one fact that like there's more like grace out there amongst your peers than I think you understand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Especially when you tell on yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So it's like it almost brings everyone closer. Like especially
Right.
like even if it's like a leadership to you being under leadership, whatever, just like it's just better in every way. And I've realized that as I've gotten older and especially doing like ministry and stuff, like it can be like awkward to like break that shell of wanting to just like make someone feel like you didn't mess up as bad as you actually did.
Yeah.
But it's so much better, not even in the long term, really in the short term. Like immediately you can
Yeah.
receive grace in that
Yeah.
area from somebody you were tempted to lie to. And it's just better. It's just
And-
healthier.
And I
Yeah.
think once you get in the habit of receiving that grace from someone who's above you, you kind of understand a little bit more of what it's like to connect with God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like, wow,
No,
I felt
that's so
so
real.
dumb,
Yeah.
and they were so nice. how much more dumb do I feel in God's presence?
Right.
How much more grace does he give me?
That's so good.
And I think sometimes we need to, there's the confession, like confess with your lips and believe in your heart. That confession is not just receiving God. It's moving forward in life. It's becoming integrous. It's like, I'm complete. Like, I lack in this. I lack in that. I fear this. And coming to those people, whether it's your peers or your leaders or whatever, I don't think I've ever seen anyone admit a mistake and them not receive grace and realize, man,
More
it's so
grace.
much better than people that hide it. You have to pull it. Because if once you confess it, it's embarrassing enough.
Yeah.
It's humbling enough that you don't
anyone is like the grace is there.
There's no more punishment to give, whatever that means.
I have been in situations though where, again, I think humans are crazy because we can just make everything worse, but where people do admit their mistake, but they so over exaggerate the mistake and the reasons, and this is what happened, and they're crying, and it's like, because they didn't do something maybe I asked them to do. But then at that point, they have so much just broken down emotionally to where it's almost like manipulative to where I can't correct them at all because now they're like a blubbering mess. And they just said that what they messed up, but then they went out of their way to cover why. It's like the worst things ever, to where I would then be a monster to possibly be like, oh, don't do that next time.
That's not good.
So then it's almost like sometimes people lack integrity in that where they just over exaggerate and it's hyperbole, and then you kind of, as like a superior, you're like, okay,
man,
I'm sorry. Like, you end up apologizing because you're like, all right.
It's a different type of dishonesty.
Yeah. It's a whole show.
Yeah.
And that's probably more rare than just being withholding, but I also just have seen that a lot too.
Yeah.
I'll go on another extreme too. Like, honesty doesn't mean blurting out whatever you feel like it either.
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
There's just some
rude.
things that's none of your business.
Yeah.
And you don't have to say. And I think people parade, I am so honest. I'm so bold.
Well,
I'm like,
I
no,
know
you're
people do
rude and
that.
you're mean.
Right. It's like,
and nobody wants to be your friend.
I so agree with that.
So like,
I really
it's just,
do.
you don't, it's not saying everything and anything that comes to your mind.
No.
It's being real in your life and honest in your, you need a
Jonathan,
moment.
Yeah, I'm just like, no.
You're stressed about
I've just seen that cover up so much. It's like, oh, I'm just real.
No, you're a jerk.
Stop being
Who's the
real,
jerk?
because I don't think
Right,
I
it's
don't
like,
think you're supposed
well-
to be that real, if that's what you call it. Like, it's not. Yeah.
I think also honesty encompasses not taking advantage of others.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that kind of goes along to that.
Yeah,
That I think
similar.
sometimes that you're like, well, I need help putting this stuff away.
Yeah.
And you manipulate people to put it away, but you're like, well, I needed help.
Right.
And people should help because God is help.
But instead of asking, it's like, because the chiropractor said that if I lift anything over 25 pounds, that my whole back is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
And then you like have this super horrible medical, emotional, family reason that you can't do something, and then it's like you're honest about you can't do it, but you're manipulating why you can't do it.
The reason that is so important to call out is because of
because everybody's a class A manipulator in this world.
But not only that, but they don't even consider. It goes back to self-awareness from last week. They think like, oh, they don't recognize it as a chip in their integrity armor because it's not false. Maybe they really do have a diagnosis
because
of some
the means
sort.
justifies the end.
Yeah, and I just think we need to be aware of where we do that because it's like, we all need Jesus so bad, and I realize it because of stuff like this, but it's hidden a little bit.
I think one of the big things, Seuss, is that being a believer in 2020 automatically makes you wiser, smarter, stronger, but at the same time more responsible, more accountable. And we take this part and we use our gifts of speaking or our gifts of leading. We use those gifts and we don't go, there's a whole responsibility and like keep it in balance and we end up taking advantage or being like amazing manipulators. That's just the enemy warping your gift of leadership. Like, and it is like that. So like, it just stinks because eventually you're those people, grand manipulators tend to get burnt out.
Yeah, it's
and
like
they're just like, I'm burnt out. But then at that
done.
point, they're like, I'm burnt out. I need a break from everything because I'm burnt out. And I'm like, that's because you've manipulated the entire process.
Right.
And nothing takes more emotional energy and will burn you out easier than 24/7 having to pretend that you're
because you
having to
constantly
show
have
like.
to understand, who am I telling this to? What do they know about it?
Takes
What do they
a
know
lot
about
of
it?
energy to where it's like when you're home, you really feel like,
you're
Gosh,
exhausted.
I'm glad
It's
that's
exhausting.
over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's why a lot of people burn out, because it's this idea that they have to do that as well in order to be a good leader or
and it's
whatever.
just a thing that people get used to. I think they get used to,
they
and
don't
they
even realize it's
feel.
happening.
What's weird is it feels like they're in control, and that's why they do it. But to an onlooker, to another Christian who is wise and who's walking correctly, it's like, you look crazy. You know, it's kind of like, it's like they think they're doing a good job at portraying something, and people with wisdom and discernment would be like, no, you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
And it just stinks too, because it's like there is a real need, and people give sympathy to burnout.
Right.
Like all the symptoms that they would go to the altar for are very real symptoms that people can experience.
Right.
But the way they got there is not healthy, and it's hard.
Right.
It's like they want to deal with I need help and blame everyone, or I'm burnt out, but it's like that's just those are the results.
Yeah.
The symptoms is that you are a grand manipulator and you need to be better.
Right.
I don't want to veer off too much, but what are you guys' thoughts on, because I've always very closely associated this specific topic we're talking about right now with somebody who eventually just grows bitter at a church and who walks away. It's like, I've just seen it too many times where I've been like, oh, it just seems like you got tired of putting on this facade.
Yeah.
And instead of it being like the reasons you're saying it is, like, oh, that, you know, these people, whatever, you know, all the different reasons to walk away from any church and say, oh, that church's leadership is bad, or the people there are bad, or whatever. To me, it's always just like this fatigue. It's like, no, you're really tired.
Yeah.
Because you weren't really authentic. You felt the need to put on this whatever, and it's classified as manipulation and whatever, a lack of integrity, I guess. But like, I don't know, what are your thoughts on that? Because I've always paired those two things very closely. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah,
So.
I think, I agree with you. And they do walk away and they do get bitter. And then here's the thing too, at the end, and they go on social media and they attack the church saying, I was burnt.
Right.
People were mean to me. And some of these things are true.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? There we go.
In a
lack
way,
of integrity.
yeah, you really did have a conflict with someone. Something,
Are
know.
they bitter? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, but is your responsibility, like, where's your ownership?
Right.
Where's your self-awareness? What your part in it? You know, and at that point, they get on social media and they just attack the church.
Yeah.
I've been on this big, like, just process. It's like, just because you attack doesn't mean you're part of the solution.
At
Yeah,
all.
right.
Just because you're going to sit there and you're going to go, the church doesn't do this and the church doesn't do that. Attacking the church, because all I see is the church is trying.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I love it how people attack the church.
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And then,
Right.
you know, they go, you need to do more.
Right.
You need to do this. And they have no problem telling me, as I represent the church and what I do,
Right.
you know, and obviously what you guys do, but focus on me. And it's just like, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, I was so busy, you know, practicing my sermon and rehearsing this and writing that and praying for this
Right.
and picking up this and translating that. Like, I have all these tasks.
Right.
And before the Lord, obviously I can't do it all. So then I'm just lying. I'm like, they attack me because I'm not doing enough.
Right.
And it stinks.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I'm doing what God told me to do. You
Right.
can attack, but you're still not doing anything. In reality, what I genuinely think is the reason that they're so, like, I'm probably not called to deal with that issue. You were called to deal with that issue and come
Right.
alongside and serve and help and bring light and hope to the church doing on that, because I'm doing my part.
Right.
My job is to feed you. Your job is to minister to.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so I do think the bitterness is this evil, crazy circle
Yeah.
that
Right.
there's always some truth in it.
Yeah.
But the genesis of the truth is where we're
Yeah.
Yeah, and
we're
I
off.
feel like most people that do like leave a church or go through that season, it kind of is funny because they have their own narrative, but again, if you were to just find a Christian with discernment who's walking correctly, they would easily in 1 second be able to pick out, but you're not living right.
Right.
Yeah, but we know, like, you have secret sin in your life. You're in this relationship. You're doing this. You lied. You are sleeping with this person. You are drinking alcohol. You know, like all these things. And it's like, it's sort of that dishonesty where it's like, here's one big problem.
Right.
So-and-so was rude to me. And we're like, okay, yeah, they probably were rude to you. Cool. But it's like hiding all of the rest of the issues. I have daddy issues I haven't dealt with. I haven't forgiven this person. I'm mad at so-and-so. I'm not living correctly. I haven't prayed in 5 months. And so it's kind of like, it's again dishonesty where it's like, no, this is the whole reason why I am here. It's this person.
Yeah.
Whereas a discernment, you know, a person who's discerning can be like, that's not the whole story though.
It's just crazy how like a dishonesty in those areas, and like, again, like you say, like the problem that they say a person in that situation would say, oh, this person was rude to me or whatever happened. It could be true, but like the stuff that's actually going on, that there's a lack of integrity about, you know what I mean, like lack of wanting to be honest, lack of wanting to share, it puts them way over here where it's like, I hate this church and all this stuff and whatever, whereas being honest in those areas would literally put them so far on the other side of the spectrum because of grace, because of deeper connections as a result of being honest, because of just like realizing what a church family is, which is coming alongside you when you're broken. Like it, like one side you're way over here and the other just being honest and transparent puts you way on the other side. So it's crazy how that's the dividing line of like somebody who ends up walking away bitter versus somebody who literally just is a part of a church that they're loved at, and at the end of the day that they can say, we're trying. We're all just trying.
I had conversations yesterday with a group of people who, for lack of a better term, I believe that they were wronged. They were wronged. Right. And it's crazy to me that they're still wronged in this situation because it's 2020. Mm-hmm. This wrong should not be happening. And they came to me, and I could have literally gone on board and just joined that bandwagon because it is wrong, because it is an injustice, and because it didn't exist. And I think it hits more of a nerve because I've tried in my entire walk, I've tried to protect this group of people from this prejudice. Yeah. Okay? I've tried. And boom, yesterday it happened. But you know what's crazy? 2 days before, it happened to me. Mm-hmm. It was a statement made, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. But here's the thing. What I did, I was like, you know what? That stinks. But you know what? We are not going to let this define us. Right. We're not going to stop this, and we're going to move forward. And at that point, I had the opportunity to be open and honest and bond, but then also go, we're going to move forward. It doesn't matter. God has a plan. And at that point, like, I was able to shut down bitterness and anger because it's the integrous thing to do. Right. Because we're not going to let one little thing define our walk or define our pattern. Mm-hmm. But to think that we're not going to encounter injustices every day, that's just ridiculous. Right. It is, yeah. You know? And I'm just saying that because you'll think, well, you've never. I'm like, no, it's literally happened. The other day. Another aspect of integrity, respect. Thoughts?
Absolutely.
I think
that's another weird place to be, because nowadays it's like respect is earned only. Yeah. It's never given just because I'm a respectful person, so I'm going to respect you. It's like I'm a person, you respect me, I'll respect you back. And so that's where I feel like there's a complete lack of integrity, because I think that respect comes from who you are. That's you treat people based on what respect you have in your heart. And if they don't respect you back, that's on them. You know, like, to be disrespectful is ridiculous and it's embarrassing, and it only ever makes you look bad when you disrespect someone else. And so to me, I think that's such a cool aspect. That's kind of maybe what I was talking about, like, you know, two friends in a conflict where one is not looking to trash the other one. Yeah. I just feel like that's like a respect they have. Even though we're in this conflict, I respect you enough to, in front of someone that we view as a superior, I'm not going to throw you under that bus. Yeah. You know, and I think that's a part of integrity that I feel like a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah. When it comes to respect, I always like think of it as honor as well. Yeah. So like, just when and I always think about just the context of the church as a whole, and that's what we've been talking about, so it kind of works. But like, whenever, like, if I see a new person walk through the door, maybe I invite somebody, it's their first time, like, I don't know, I do personally, and I think everyone should have this, I have this like weird like honor and respect for a person who's like just at my church. So like it goes, you know, to what you were saying, like, it's just, I'm thankful that I have this, and I think that God has worked on me in this area, but like, I do have this honor and respect for, I think, for everybody. And the reason why is because I'm just, or at least I try to be as aware as possible of the fact that like, it's just another person who needs this. Yeah. It's another person who needs this, and I need this, and I continue to need this. And when I say this, I mean God and the church and all of that. But yeah, like, I just think it's important to get to that place, because like, it's what we're called to. Like, we're called to have a burden. And to me, like, having a burden starts with like respecting everybody. Yeah. Like, if you really like if you have a burden for people, there can't be an attitude of you have to earn my respect. There really can't be. And that's not really how Jesus walked around. It was just, it's all love. It's all, we can say love, and like, I think there's this idea that we can love without respecting someone. I don't get it. Yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, that's not genuine love. Like, I don't know. Like, I have to respect you to
Yeah.
love you. I think the way
Yeah.
I think Jesus
Yeah.
would have me love you. So
I think that we have to respect everybody. So like little babies, little kids, not talking down to them,
Yeah.
especially when you come in contact. And that's super kind of big on my heart because I've never looked my age. So
Yeah.
I remember being in like 5th grade, 6th grade, and I wasn't allowed to go to youth yet because I wasn't the right age and I had to wait. And I remember being in, coming to church and people looking down at me because I just was little and I was short and I just looked young. So I was never spoken to like a human being.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in my heart and in my mind, I'm just like, no, like I have a lot to offer and a lot to say.
Yeah.
So I just always believe, anyone on the street, old people, everybody just deserves that respect.
Yeah.
And at the same time, too, I think that a title reserves respect. People in
Yeah,
this society, you earn
absolutely.
respect. It doesn't matter. I don't need to know anything about you.
Yeah.
But if I am on a tour, I am on a mission trip, I am in line at Winn-Dixie. Yes, I said Winn-Dixie.
Yeah.
If you're the cashier, if you're the manager, whatever, like I don't need to ask questions. I don't need anything.
Right.
You deserve the respect.
You
If
have
I'm in
that
your
position.
establishment, if I am in your reign, you're the boss. I am not. And that's very scriptural because all authority comes from
Right.
God. So like I don't need like it doesn't I've been in situations that the person in charge of me obviously is clueless.
Yeah.
And obviously
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
know. And right around, everyone starts getting all itchy and wonder,
Right.
and I'm always like, I don't care that you have 80 degrees and
Yeah.
I don't care that you're better than them. They're in charge. The title deserves respect. And
Right.
it's, you will see it. You will see me act that way. I've learned so much like on mission trips, especially when we're in those situations, and it's fine. And you'd be surprised putting that out there helps you you invoke trust from that person, but then also
Right.
people around you realize, wow, like she could squash someone and she doesn't.
Right.
right.
So like in that, like just because you have power somewhere doesn't mean you should always flaunt it.
Right.
That's good.
I'm like everybody, if respect it, like no, they don't have to earn it. They have to do nothing.
Right.
Just respect the title. Respect
That's someone you
the
want on
lizard
your
in your
team,
room.
though.
Yeah.
Is who can just respect the hierarchy. No
Doesn't matter
what.
where, yeah.
No matter what. And there's always a blessing at the end of that.
Yeah.
It does not matter because the Bible's very clear, like, even if your master is harsh with you, just do it. Just
Yeah.
obey him. Just do it because there's a blessing from God at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I think that people rob themselves of blessings all
And
the
even
time.
the tiniest little things, it
Yeah.
is so dumb. Like the other day we had an outreach here and I was helping out parking lot and like our admin was in charge of our team. And every single time someone's like, well, we should do this. And I was like,
Yeah.
nope, ask Anna.
Right.
Anna, what do you want us to do? Okay.
But
Nope,
that's how
whatever.
things work
And then we
well,
moved. I was
too.
doing
Yeah.
it, and literally at the end, it was Jessica. And they were super. I'm like, you guys, like, but why wouldn't you
Right.
do this?
You're the boss right now.
Who
You're
cares?
parking boss.
Like
right now.
nobody
It's
cares.
fine.
Like I'm just like,
Yes.
dude, like this is the fight we're gonna. Oh my gosh, who cares? Another aspect of integrity, and I may need to explain this one. Pride is an aspect of integrity. And when I use that word, obviously has a negative connotation. But basically, it's kind of being proud of what you do.
Yeah.
Being ride or die, demonstrating an enthusiasm and commitment. And I think, the best way I'm like I am ride or die mainstream.
Yeah.
Like I am ride or die, proud of it. My church is the best. I love it. I don't care. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I bleed mainstream.
Right.
So like, and I don't deny it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna post another church. I'm not gonna say I'm doing something else on a Sunday night. I would be
Yeah.
embarrassed. I'm like, no. Like, and I am that. I am
Yeah.
ride or die, the voice, mainstream. I am proud, and I'm like, and that is integrous because it means that I believe in what I do.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
So, thoughts.
So I had a conversation recently. I guess I'm an integrous person because I'm like really.
Oh, good
I
job,
don't know.
John.
I just because I'm.
Good job.
A lot of these things are just ringing, bells in my head. But
He's
but no,
also humble.
no, but is that one of those? Anyways, forget it. No, I had a conversation recently where I was, I don't know, I guess you could say vouching or testifying for the internship program here and for MLC. And I was having this conversation with somebody, really encouraging them to like do this, like be a part of it. I know you have your doubts and your reasons not to, but like please do it. And I realized that like I was only able to speak from such a place of passion and obviously experience having done it and all this stuff, like because I was genuinely proud of who it made me in the moment and who it made me even to this day.
Yeah.
Like I realized that I was proud to say that I had done this program and that to this day, like I work at the same church because of this program. Like I was just very, very proud of it. And so like when people hear pride, they might think, oh, that has a negative thing to it. But like I would encourage you to take pride in the areas you need to and to the level you need to, because man, at that point you can really like be passionate about it. And so the conversation, I mean, whatever, I just said everything I had to say about it. And I was almost like realizing myself, I was like, I love my church and I love, the internship program and whatever. But I realized I was only able to speak with such passion and conviction because I was genuinely proud of who it made me and what it allowed me to do in the time and in the future after. So that's so real. That's so real. It goes back to like just being ministers and people who want to touch people like for Jesus and like who want to change lives. It's like, you have to be proud of why you even want to do it in the first place. Because, well, look what Jesus did to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so yeah, that's important.
I think it's crazy that is an aspect of integrity. It makes sense. But I just think, too, that's like an aspect of being happy. Like, I think
that's true,
weird to me when people don't like the things they have, because I'm like, what a miserable life this is. Because, like, that's how I don't know. Like, I feel like I have the best husband in the world. I feel like I have the cutest baby in the world. I feel like I go to the best church. I felt like I went to the best high school and the best college, and I went to the best internship program you could have, and I have the best bosses, and I work with the best coworkers, and so I live in the best country ever. Like, and I genuinely thank God all the time. Like, I can't believe you gave me all the best stuff, because I'm like, some people don't have this stuff. But then I'm like, it can't really be objectively the best, but it's so much better to be proud of where you come from, who you are, what you're doing, because why would you be embarrassed? That's what God gave you.
Right.
And
So
all that
good.
leads to is misery. Like, you're miserable. You don't want to wake up in the morning and go to work. You don't want to, wake up and take care of your responsibilities or your family or this and that, because you're always, I want something better than this.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a lot happier of a life to just be like, I love what I have.
Yeah, and I think, I guess a little bit with like social media, like I could tell what people value or don't value according to their social media. There's only people that ever put up like makeup stuff.
Yeah.
And that's it. So then, and it's not even like their hustle, because I respect that. It's just like, look at me with my makeup. And I'm like, oh, so I guess you value makeup. You know what I'm saying? Versus
it's
some
not
people,
wrong. They do.
They post and they value every like famous minister. They always put them up, like the famous celebrity minister, this and this, and they just this and all blah, blah, blah. But then I just kind of laugh and I'm like, yeah, but who do you call at 3 a.m.
Right.
when you've overdosed and you're really afraid for your life?
Right.
You call them? And then at that point, I'm always just like, man, like you could tell that they don't value the relationship, value that.
Yeah.
Versus some people literally, every time they're in a production, they post it. They literally buy every new merch, they buy it. They're like, I have 10 of them. I'm this, I'm blah, blah, blah. Like they cannot handle themselves. And you could just tell that they're just like ride or die committed to, God or to the church or to their purpose or to their call. And that's just, if someone is that committed, they could win me over to be committed to that. And I guess with that as believers, like, okay, then I'm like, you wear that makeup, I want to wear that makeup. But at the end of the day, it's just makeup.
Right.
Yeah.
You wear that sneaker, I want to wear that sneaker. But when someone is so ride or die about a church, I'm like, I want to go to that church.
Right.
So you don't realize how, as leaders, I'm like, being ride or die about it, like literally is such a great discipleship tool.
Oh, yeah.
Next aspect, responsibility.
Yes.
You should have it.
I love, like, I feel like some of the greatest parts of life or greatest things you can have come with such great responsibilities. Like it takes a responsibility to have a job. It takes responsibility to get your degree. It takes responsibility to be married, to have a kid, to have dogs, to have a house, to have, a career, to have friendships as an adult. It's a big responsibility, you have to adhere to. But like all those things I just mentioned are like things that everyone wants, everyone says they want, everyone thinks they strive toward, but when they realize it comes with a huge responsibility, sometimes you have to say no to this. Sometimes you have to go to bed early.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to wake up early. It's almost like the responsibility aspect kills it for them.
Yeah.
And I don't get that, because every responsibility I've ever taken on in my life has also become the greatest part of my life.
Wow, that's
you
good.
know, and so I look for more responsibilities because I'm like, the last one was so great, you know, I had so much fun. And I think people are scared of it, but I don't know why. I've never really known why.
Yeah.
good.
I mean, no, I literally just want to bounce off what she said, just with the
Bounce
fact that
away.
like, the greatest things, right? The things that at the end of the day that I'm proud of,
Yeah.
right? The greatest things are the things that require responsibility.
Yeah.
And you talk about like, you know, I just remember when I was younger, like the things that I wanted so bad that I do have now, but that like I look back on them like, wow, that took an immense amount of responsibility. Like, I don't know, just like, just a level of responsibility that at the time of desiring it, I didn't understand. And that eventually I had to like grow into. But like, I mean, just especially with being the youth pastor at our Redbud campus, like, I remember, you know, being younger and thinking, oh, I wonder what it would like to be like, you know, to be in that position. And I had no idea about the responsibilities and the really also like the weight of some of those responsibilities, like emotionally too, that came with. But yeah, like, no, the greatest things in life are ones where it takes a little bit of sometimes like not wanting to do something.
Yeah.
But then when you push past that, this happens all the time. I look back to like when I didn't want to do it and I'm like,
Yeah,
why
and
did
you're like,
I'm like,
why?
wait, why
Why
did I
not?
not want to,
Yeah.
whatever. Like that has happened with so many things that have to do with, I mean, ministry, yes, but other areas too. Like, I don't know, I just remember like before I had my own car, because I never, you know, I never had a car bought for me. It was always, you know, whatever, like when I bought on my own. But yeah, just like the need to be financially like aware of what was going on. Like it's like, oh, it's not like buying a game system or whatever. Like there's insurance that I really need to pay for, and you know, car payments, you know, if you do that or whatever, like. But then you look back and it's like, well, I remember being younger, wanting this so bad. Like, how dare I even say, oh, I don't want to like be responsible. Like, no, you wanted it so bad. You have to remember that.
Yeah.
But it really is the greatest thing. So I agree with you 100%.
That's cool. I love that. The next one we'll skip through because we kind of already talked about. The next one is being a person of your word, which is kind of already mentioned. And the last one, I'll just expand on it a little bit and then we'll move on because I don't want to run out of time. But I thought this one was crazy. The last attribute was helping others. And I was like, how's that really whatever, because I'm trying to do the math because I feel like all this other one's like things you're supposed to be and this is something you're supposed to do. Just always going, is there anything else I can help you with, or how can I help you? And I was reading this and it said, the 6 can only be demonstrated if you help others.
Well,
And it's true. Like you can't
good.
be integrous on your own. Like you can only show respect. You can only, I skipped generating trust. That was another one. Generating trust, pride, responsibility, all that. It's only if you help someone else.
Yeah.
And which is crazy because it's not really a spiritual thing, but it is a spiritual thing that it's like all these things you can only be shown when you help someone else. And I think sometimes people have all these things bottled up inside, but if you don't really demonstrate it, then you don't really have it.
That's very interesting.
Which is crazy. Next question. How does one show integrity in the most practical, applicable ways?
I would just say tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. I don't understand how people are so skilled at omitting details, because I wouldn't be able to tell the story because I'd be like, this happened too. And I'm like, oh man, I wasn't supposed to say that. But just, tell the complete story. Just tell the whole story. Only make plans that you can keep.
Amen.
Don't find yourself canceling on people the day of. And I would just say be an open book.
Yeah. It's a struggle.
Be an open book about your life, and I put in parentheses almost to the point of oversharing. Like almost, because sometimes I'm like, okay, you share too much, but people who overshare like that to where I'm like, keep me out of your bedroom, I don't want to know. I also really trust them though, because I'm like, wow, you were gonna tell this room full of people about this? That's crazy. You have no secrets.
Yeah. So to me, the best way to show integrity is, it's funny because I want to answer like, oh, just show everything that we just described. And that's true, obviously, but a practical way to show integrity, and just one that you could do every day, really is just to, in my opinion, it's like just be, it kind of goes with what you were saying, but just be as out there as possible. And I guess what I mean by that is like just don't be, I want to say don't be shady, but like, I don't know, just don't have any areas of your life that you're, I guess like that you have nobody that you talk about, like that you talk to about those areas.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just have at least, you know what I mean? Like obviously we need accountability and we need, you know, people that we go to at things. But I mean, I've found that in my own life, like, I don't know, it's just like there are certain areas where it's like, oh, I want nobody to go there. I want nobody to whatever. But like that's going to build a habit of like, oh, I'm okay with omission, like you said. I'm okay with like, and it builds on itself. So a practical way is just to like be open, have accountability, right? And don't like just have this demeanor of like there's no fear involved. You know what I mean? There's no like I don't want to like whatever, like don't. I had a conversation recently where it was like impossible for this person to talk. Like it was impossible for this, it was a family member actually, for this person to like share with me details of a situation where I was like, have I not built trust with you? And you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't want to be that. Like I want to at least, obviously there's different areas of life that we want to come to different people about, but like I don't ever want to be walking on eggshells when it comes to my speech. So it's a hard thing to describe in terms of a practical thing, but I just think it's like, have a demeanor of openness, of like just not having any, I guess, skeletons in your closet, like they say. Like just be somebody who walks around with a face and a demeanor that looks like I've got everything out there to everyone who needs to know it. So,
I kind of adding on to that, I was like, I don't think don't avoid questions when people ask you things. Just kind of answer it.
That's a big one.
We already covered that one. Surround yourself with honest people. I think that's big time, like for real honest people who are integrous. And then also take responsibility, apologize, and do better. Don't just apologize. Good, Don't just say, oh yeah, I'm so this. That is the worst thing you could possibly ever tell me. Don't describe to me your lack. Trust me, I know. Okay? Now apologize to Jesus because he's the one you crucified. And then do better. Like that's where I'm just like, I mean, we've all fall short. Like I don't need the play-by-play. It makes you feel better, cool, but like what's it gonna look like tomorrow? And I think that's the thing. I think that that's emotional intelligence. Listen to last week's podcast, but it's like, no, like do better, fix it, do better. What does it mean to lack integrity?
It's okay. It's the opposite of what I just said, but where it's like, to me, it's like overwhelmingly obvious though with certain people at least. I just think like a lack of integrity. It's such a jam-packed term because like we've covered so many different areas of how to display it, right? Yeah. But like that means there's so many opportunities to display the opposite. Yeah. So many areas where you can just be clearly lacking, and like that's what it means to lack integrity. So, but I would just want to kind of go off of what I said though. If you're constantly careful about every detail of everything you share with who you're sharing it with, like that to me is a potential display of a lack of integrity, because it goes back to the lying thing. Like you're having to memorize what you told to which person, and that's a huge sign. So to me, if you can work on that, that's awesome, because that means it's like, to me, it's the clear bridge to integrity. It's like everything's out there. And you don't have to worry about, again, obviously there are certain things that you don't share with everybody like we discussed, but like for the most part, it's like you're not afraid to say certain things to certain people. It's hard to describe really, but that's, to me, a lack of integrity is just like a person who's so like, why do you want to know about that? You know what I mean? Like that type of like, why are you asking? You know what I mean? Like the type of like,
tight-lipped,
yeah, exactly. To me, that's the biggest display of a lack of integrity.
I would just say, honestly, being or doing anything less than what is 100% right. I don't think integrity is something that you grow in. I think you either are a 10 or you're a 0.
Ooh,
you know, because integrity, it's wholeness. Yeah. So if I order a whole pizza and you give me 7 out of 8 slices, I'm like, this is a pizza, but it's not a whole pizza. Yeah, where's my other slice? Right. So to me, it's that. Like it's not something that's like, oh, I'm trying to get better. It's like, no, you have integrity or you do not have integrity. That's kind of harsh, but I believe it.
That's good.
Yeah, I agree.
Life song.
I think it's someone who is fine with others taking the fall for their mistakes. And I think that that is someone who lacks integrity. That's like good. Someone who's very egotistical. So it doesn't matter. So it's just like, oh, but they did this to me. Oh no, but it's because they're this. Or oh no, I would have come, but then they just like, it's just always making up excuses. Like it's always somebody else's fault. If it's always, I think someone who that's always coming out of their mouth, it's someone else issue, pain, whatever. And I'm like, you just lack integrity. You're egotistical. You think the world revolves around you and you're okay and you're the saint and everybody else is the devil. That's not reality.
Right.
Like there's no sense of ownership. And if there's no sense of ownership, there's no sense of being better or being more, because it's everybody else's issue.
Right.
What are the hardest aspects of living a life of integrity?
This one, I feel like just the answer is sin. It's just sin. It's letting any kind of sin have room in your life. Because again, I don't think you're at a disadvantage because of your daddy issues. I don't think you're at a disadvantage if you grew up in poverty. I don't think you're at a disadvantage. Like, it's not like emotional intelligence. It's not like navigating loneliness. It's not like gossip. Like, it's something that every single person can do. You can be 100% integrous.
I love the word
integrititious. You just
Oh, that's a good one.
But I think as soon as you open that little window cracked open for sin, then that is what breeds, a lack of integrity.
That's good.
The hardest aspect of living a life of integrity, and you talked about like not understanding how somebody can like lie because they have to memorize things so well and all that stuff. The hardest part of living a life of integrity is that you can get so good at just being so good at not being integrous. You can get so good at being good at not being integrous. Like it really, it builds on itself. Like it does. Like, because it starts with one area where you're just like, I'm just not going to bother with it. This will be my little thing. I'm not going to talk to anybody about it. But then because that one area, it works so well, right? Nobody knows about it. I don't have to worry about it. Like it works so well. You just think, oh, wow, wait a second. I can build a better reputation if I do that to other areas too. And at that point, it's the bullseye is a good reputation and not actually living the good reputation that you display.
Good, yeah.
You can get so good at that because it's like, I feel like it's like addicting to like have people think that you're this amazing whatever, and like we discussed earlier, it can be addicting, but it's so much sweeter to just have people in your life who can love you deeper because you're not doing that, because you're really getting things out there, whatever. So the hardest part to me is that you compromise in one area and it's just like, oh wait, this person thinks I'm A-okay in that area, and what's, I guess like ignorance is bliss, right? So that's, if all you care about is people's perception of you, then if you clean it up by omitting something, man, that feels good because that's all you care about is their perception. So like, let me do it to this area and this area. And eventually it builds on itself. And the thing is with integrity, kind of by definition, there's nobody to check you on it because it's integrity. You know what I mean? It's like when they're not looking, are you still whatever? So that's the hardest part, is that you can get so good at being good at it, at not being integrous.
I guess I never knew that's why people lie. I mean, that sounds really dumb. But I never understood why people lie. I'm like, why are you lying? It's so dumb to lie. But I guess, if you can just lie your way to a better reputation. Yeah. But then to me, I feel like it takes just as much work to lie to a better reputation as it does to just create a better person inside of you, right?
But once you're so deep in that and you have everyone believing the lie and you're around you believing the lie,
like a bombshell.
And it gets really bad. But then at that point, the next step in that's how you know they're really rock bottom. Is whenever they're like, okay, I'm lying about myself, and then they start lying about other people. Yeah. Because people are kind of realizing the truth, and then it's just like, no, but Jonathan this, no, but Kaimana this, and then we start. It's just like a whole new level. But then at that point, you're like really far gone, which obviously not far from the grace of God. You can always come back. It doesn't matter. But it just makes it easier.
It's very tiring.
Because at that point, that it's just like, if you're like, I can't believe you this, and have the opportunity to tell the truth. And I go, no, but it was Jonathan made me. He held the gun to my head. And you're like, I hate Jonathan. I'm like, me too.
Yeah.
And we're good. And I'm fine. I won you as a friend, but I've just another level of the issues.
That's crazy.
What's crazy about the whole thing is that it goes back to what I was talking about earlier with people who maybe walk away from a church bitter, is that, and this is why I believe people are so driven to continue to just cover up areas, and just because, again, their only focus is the reputation. So what drives them away at the end of it all, it's so crazy. In what I've seen, what drives a person away in the end of it all is either all of those lies coming to the top and like and things are revealed, like, and then it's like, oh, I can't deal with that reputation to rebuild, so let me just get away from it. Right. Or it's simply just the pressure of having to conceal it all. Yeah. Eventually it gets so much where it's like it might not even like burst out, and people may have this beautiful perception of you, but at that point, like, compliments begin to hurt. It's like, oh, they think that I'm that, but I'm not really that. Esteem hurts because it's like, oh my gosh, I've built up all this stuff and it's just not real. The pressure or the explosion, either one of those drives people away. And I love this topic because it's like, people who get to that place, I just have a heart for them, because it's they've done it to themselves by misunderstanding a whole bunch of other things. Yeah. So that's, my heart goes out to just people who fall into that trap, because at the end of the day, it's all the devil lying to us, and it's all, it's all just darkness consuming us, or trying to. But yeah, that's what I've noticed about that.
What are some tips to help you strengthen your integrity?
I feel like maybe we've kind of covered it, but I would just say give people unfettered access to your life. Because if you know that you live sort of just publicly, and again, in wisdom, and not everyone needs to know everything about your family or whatever, but just, it's like if someone has the audacity to come and ask you a question that's personal, you would have the audacity to answer it, So I just feel like that, because it's so hard when people, first of all, think that they are getting away with it when they lie or when they are, restrictive. But everyone knows everything about everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like, can we all just be honest? And so, like, to me, my whole life, I know I've always been the friend to not be told about the bad things other people were doing.
Yeah.
Because I would just be like, no, 0 or 10, whatever. And so it's hard, because then at that point, it's like I can't really speak into their life because technically they haven't told me about this thing. And so technically I don't know about this thing because I haven't been given access
To the thing.
to that.
Yeah.
But I have some wisdom that I could share. However, bringing it up would be, instead of, well, I'm so glad you talked to me, it'd be like, well, who told you? Well, where'd you hear that? Well, what did they say? Well, you know what they do too. Well, this and that. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm not going to go there because I haven't been given access. So to me, I just think if you want to have integrity, don't have those different levels of that. Be like, if someone wants to ask me something, I'm going to tell them the truth.
That just stinks though, because that's so sad.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Because at that point, there's truth out there. Like God is speaking to you. There's truth. There's power. There's ability. But you're shutting it down because of your stinking attitude.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Jonathan?
Yeah.
Tips to help you strengthen your integrity?
Yeah, I've got one, and it's so funny because like I keep referring to like as I was growing up in my faith, I guess whatever. The past few years, no, I've just felt it in experience, like of my own. I've felt this change. But the number one tip I would give to help strengthen integrity is it sounds funny, it sounds like peer pressure, but like just try it once. And what I mean by that is like try complete openness with an area you're maybe ashamed of or an area where you're maybe afraid of people's response. Like try it in one area, because when you receive the grace and the love that we're talking about from obviously Jesus, but on top of that, like your peers within the church, like that in itself will become more addicting than concealing truths and having a reputation built on something that's not real. That literally has happened to me when I first started. Like, it's so funny. Shout out to David Famous, who's not on our podcast with us anymore. But he was like, I started working crew, which was like setting up chairs and stuff back when we didn't have a beautiful auditorium like this. But I was setting up chairs and stuff here at the church, and I worked with him, and he was the first person, like I think ever in my life outside of maybe family, to like really ask me questions that were deep. You know what I mean? Like questions where I actually had to like dig a little bit to see how I felt about certain things. And it was just casual, but I was like, why is this casual? I was like, we're rolling up mats and stuff, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm about to tap into some emotion here.
What do I have repressed?
Yeah, like exactly. So but he was like, it was those moments that made me realize like I can really be open about things, and they might not be happy things, but like I'm going to receive a level of relationship and love that I've never felt before, because I was closed off about these things before, and because I just wanted people to think I was a certain way before. But yeah, like just try it once, really, really try it once. And like, I just think that after that, like your reputation is built in such a stressless manner. Like you're not worried about things falling over on itself. Like you're like, nah, this is who I am. I'm in need of Jesus. And to me, that's like the common link between all of us. And that's how we can have better relationships anyways. So like, just try it once and see the joy that comes from it, the peace that comes from it. And then let that become addicting and just like open up. So,
I have one tip, and it'll start off very easy. Just be on time. Everything just be on time. Everything be on time. Be on time. Try that. Don't do anything else. Don't talk to anyone ever. Just be on time. Try that.
It's very
be on time
practical.
to everything. And if you can just manage that on a regular day, just be on time. And then I would go ahead and just then add your commitments. Whatever you're going to be there on time and do that. Don't just skip pre-service prayer whenever we come back. Some of you are like, I wish I had pre-service prayer. I was like, you were never here even when we had it. What are you talking about? So like adding those little things will help you. It's little small steps that's going to help you develop like big steps. And then this is just random, but don't drag out a relationship when it's over. Because when the relationship's over, and that's friendships, jobs, whatever it is, when you're just like, oh yeah, but I feel blah, blah, blah. It helps you start living a double life. There's nothing like that. you broke up, but then you still text every single day, so the relationship isn't over.
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself. And at that point, all of a sudden you've welcomed hidden secrets, hidden agenda, a double life, double-mindedness. You've invited a whole plethora of things when you didn't end something that should have been ended.
I would just say to make yourself accountable to people who are better than you. Like, I think that's so important. And people always feel like I'm being self-deprecating when I say this, but I just genuinely think, like, Pastor Johnny loves God more than I ever will. Pastor Sonia loves God more than I ever will. Pastor Matt loves God more than I ever will. They are better than me in every way. They're holier. They're nicer. They pray more. And I just genuinely feel like that. So then to me, I'm like, these are the people who I would be so embarrassed if I did something wrong, and I would have to tell them. Like, I would be so ashamed to tell them, hey, I did this. Yeah. So then to me, I'm like, that's why I don't do it. And maybe it's not even that like holy of a reason, but I just know there are people that I'm like, they're better than me, so I want that to be my accountability. And if I did mess up, I know I would have to go tell them. Yeah. And the thought of that makes me just want to start crying. So then I'm like, okay, I think it's right, because that's where my mark is.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's good. That's kind of like our next, what are ways to protect your integrity?
Yeah, I mean, and especially after this conversation, I'm like more confident in this answer. But
wow.
Yeah, some tips to help strengthen your integrity is to stop trying to strengthen your image. Like stop trying to strengthen your image or how you think people, like, stop caring about that so much. Now, disclaimer, I think especially in a position of ministerial leadership, we have to take some consideration as to like what our image is, right? You can just say, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. That's not a thing either. But when it comes to like just a focus on your image, a focus on like what people think of me, again, from past experience, I just know that that's so consuming, and that's so like, it becomes like this project. You like focus on what people think of you. If you're focused on your integrity and building up the areas we've discussed, you're less focused on your image, because through integrity, your own image is built, and it's not this picture perfect pretend one that you think is necessary. It's a real one. It's like a genuine, like, again, like, I need Jesus, but like I'm powerful despite of that. You know what I mean? Despite that, and Jesus works through me and whatever. So yeah, just taking the focus off of your image and focusing on your integrity. It builds itself. So
I think you have to, as you're growing as a believer, you have to stop bringing people in that lack integrity into your circle. Like, you're not in 9th grade anymore. You're growing up. You're graduating college. You're getting married. You're doing all these things, like. And relationships will change. So there's some people that, of course, you're never going to get rid of them. They're your friend, and you can go have coffee with them, but it doesn't mean that they're your accountability person. You can go do whatever them, but it doesn't mean that you're going to sit there and confess your biggest issue. So like, as you start growing, you start bringing people into your fold that are better than you, that are inspiring, that have integrity. Doesn't mean you shut everybody else out. It just means their relationship is different, and that's a part of maturity. And if you keep bringing people who are just going to dote on every word and it's just going to worship you, like, you're crazy. And you're going to end up becoming a narcissist. And you're going to always lack integrity, because you're just like, no, me. Once again, egotistical. And and people don't see it that way. You're like, I just want someone this. And I'm like, no, you're allowed to go have friends with someone that's just coffee or just hanging out. I'm like, but they're not in your fold. They're not in your head, in your heart. Like, there's lines that are drawn. I'm like, and you have to have that. If not, you're never going to grow.
No, that's super
And you're
important.
never going to be the husband, the wife, the parent, the teacher that you're trying to be or destined to be. Oh my goodness. Jesus, help us, God.
Amen.
That's what I'm getting from this.
Right. Same.
Before we do any last thoughts on integrity, we're going to go really quick. Your favorite couple episodes of this season, and just a quick little why people should watch it right now.
Yeah, so my favorite episode of the season has been the social media episode.
Social media, how to social media, episode 6.
Episode 6, filmed in the blue mug. First of all, I just love the blue mug, but I just think it's so relevant, and I think it's so I don't know, it's so important to, like, I feel like the theme of this entire season has been like self-awareness too, but I think like it's just really we're all involved in it in some way. So I think it's really important to like get better at the dynamics and like of the emotional side of social media and why we use it and all that stuff. I don't know, I just love the episode and recording and all that stuff. So
I would say the classified info with Pastor Jason at the Grove.
I think that was our most watched. That was our most
Yeah,
popular.
because we were like, oh my gosh, you're going to hear stuff.
Yeah, because you heard like some dirt.
Yeah.
That's why
I just
people
think that
watch.
one because I don't know what's wrong with us, but I think all of our relationships are so messed up sometimes. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get the draw to stay in them, but I just think we were really honest in there. So I feel like it'll produce an honest result.
I think my favorite will have to be the last one, emotional intelligence. I really liked it a lot because I do think people don't really understand what that means. And not that I give a rip about defining it in the dictionary, but it's just super important to be like, to know yourself, which one of my favorite quotes, Shakespeare, to thy own self be true.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, I know me, but like, how can I make me better? How can I, kind of be better within myself, but then also in my job, in my career, in my family. Like, it's just this like desire and growth. So I love that because I think that we really kind of talked about how to like kind of improve you.
Yeah,
so I really
that
dig
was a wild episode. I loved it.
Wild.
No, yeah,
And I think also episode number 1, the worship episode, it's been a long time, but one of the last times we met with in people was Selah was worshiping in the pause.
That's crazy.
And if that's not
prophetic,
the fact that there's 2 things, the verse of the year, one of these days you're gonna laugh. Yes,
which is we have been laughing.
Yeah.
LOL.
Laughing a lot, dude.
And then also the fact that we're gonna worship God in the break,
Oh
and it was
my
just
gosh.
like, it was just so
10
prophetic,
episodes
so
later.
profound.
That's crazy.
It's so crazy to me that I'm just like, just the Lord was preparing us.
Yeah.
And I think that it'd be cool for people to like to watch that one again or to go back to it and just be like, wow.
Yeah.
Like it's so true. Like, so, no, it's like so real.
Because
And
at
you're
that
still
point, we
laughing.
thought there was like
Guys,
it was like a 4-season
Break-
thing. Yeah, 4
Oh my
episode
gosh.
quarantine thing.
you
Yeah.
know, with
10
grandma.
episodes later, we're like,
Whoa.
hey.
Yeah, meanwhile,
That's-
it's
wow,
almost
that's
2021.
crazy.
We're literally
It
halfway
honestly
done.
is.
Here we are. And like, but it's just crazy in that because obviously, we were
Right.
created to worship. So we have to do that. Any last thoughts you want to leave the crowd with before we wrap it up?
Well, I always have some, so
I know,
I'll
go
give
ahead.
some. Yeah, like I'm very big on just the fact that who I'm intentional about being today is progressing me towards who I've been designed to be ultimately. I'm very like, and so that kind of like drives me away from negative decisions a lot because it's like, wait a second, this is an opportunity to build now on who God wants me to be later.
Yeah.
And like, I have so many things in mind when I think of that. I think of like obviously my current job in ministry, but also like the future and like the dreams that God has given me in ministry and the future wife that he has for me and the future children and like all of that stuff. And like,
Speak to it, John. Let's
yeah,
go.
no, like, so when it comes to like integrity, because it's the unseen form of like a relatively unseen form of just being who God wants me to be.
Yeah.
Like the number one driving force is that like, there are things that God has planned for me that I can't see and that nobody can see. And so like they're kind of linked together. So when it comes to all these areas we've discussed, I want to encourage everyone out there 2 things. Number 1, man, pray until, if you haven't had this already, until God just gives you that God dream, because I have a good amount of those that help me to understand that every decision I make in terms of who I'm building myself today, it's leading up to that. And I can either push things off, I can either decide to be better later and have whatever God has for me come later or come in a different form or whatever, but that thought scares me like nothing else. Like, like I let
true.
the reality of those God dreams that are so real, and there's a good amount of them. A lot of them have to do with the salvation of my family members. A lot of them have to do with just the ability to preach and speak God's word and all of that stuff. But like, get that. That's number 1, get that. And then number 2, let that be the driving force behind why you desire integrity at such a high level.
Yeah.
Because that's been for me like the biggest thing. Like when I think about the decisions I can make that no one else would know about, I'm like, well, wait a second. Like God has something special for me. Let me consciously knowing that, like, let me push forward towards that. Nothing else on the side.
Yeah.
So on top of that, man, and I'm big on this too, man, like find real joy in the church family. And that comes at new levels when you have integrity, when you have just this transparency about you.
Yeah.
Like, man, those are 2 of the biggest kind of thoughts in my life ever. And so besides that, because this is the final episode of the season, man, I'm honored that everyone listening right now would allow me to be, to impart wisdom at whatever level God's given it to me, to you. And just super thankful for everyone listening out there. I love you guys.
I want to thank God.
Remember
Feel God in this Chili's tonight. I want to say that I just looked at how many sugars are in this Sprite, and I'm disgusted that I drank it.
Yeah.
So that's a regret. But I would just say be integritageous. You know, like have
be integrous.
Give me an I.
INTERGITY.
I just think life is so good when you're just honest and upfront. And I know like the party line of culture is take, confidence in your strengths, but then we are mad when people are confident in their strengths. But I just feel like integrity has always been a strength of mine. And I say that knowing people roll their eyes because we don't actually like when people are confident in things that they're good at. But what I can say is I've seen the benefits of integrity in my life.
Yeah.
And there's just so much joy. There's so much freedom. There's not stress. Like it's just, I really feel like it's living how the Bible would have us live. And in the Bible, when you live a certain way, there's a certain result. And I just feel like I'm seeing that in my life, and I always have. And so I know it seems like, oh, well, that's unrelatable, but I don't think it is. It's so easy.
Yeah.
I think I probably struggle with emotional intelligence. I definitely struggle with, the loneliness thing when I'm like, whoa, I have no idea.
That was such a good episode.
I was like crying after like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to deal with loneliness. Everyone has their problems with social media. Everyone get better at gossip, but like, I just don't think integrity is something that you have to be on a journey about. You can just do it one day, and you might have to backpedal. You might have to kind of admit to some people like, yeah, I've been lying about this. But all you have to do is you have to do it once.
Yeah.
And then you'll be forgiven. Everyone will be like, me too. I've done that too.
Yeah.
And then you'll be happy.
Right.
So just try it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, I forgot to mention Kaimana's favorite episode was episode 4, so make sure that you find that.
Yes.
Mine was 1 on worship, and also the 9 emotional intelligence. But right now, she just mentioned navigating loneliness.
Yo, that
one's pretty
That
close.
was a lot. I don't know if I was
don't
ready.
know how much classified information has a little bit more of a storytelling, more dramatic.
Yeah.
But navigating loneliness was for real. Like
It's like
you watch
looking
that,
inside.
you're not gonna feel alone.
No.
You're not gonna feel alone. You're gonna watch it. You're gonna be
You're
like,
gonna get cake at the end.
oh,
that's-
I need cake.
Yep.
Mike stopped by. I was like, I need to get cake. I was like, why do you keep telling me this on a Wednesday? So I forgot to tell you guys that. But then also too, this is just kind of random. There has been something every episode that we've filmed. If you go back, you look at the episodes, there is one thing or someone that has been in every episode. And if you can DM the voice and tell us what it is, not on this one. I took it away on this one on purpose because at this, then you were like, oh, I know what it is. Like, no, it's not on this one. But all the previous 9 episodes, it has been in every shot. So if you DM us and go, hey, I know what it is, and you let us know what it is, we will send you a gift card. We will send you a present. So make sure that you watch them and you find it and let us know.
Wow.
Take your guess, whatever it is. You're like, oh, I'm going to watch and see
play.
whatever
I
it
want
is.
to find out.
And then last but not least, before I close out, come on, it's your turn.
It's my
for the
turn
cookie.
again?
Yes, because there's only 3 of us, and
Yeah.
we
I
keep
ate it
going
last time. It was
around.
disgusting.
She doesn't like to eat it. We'll have to like retire these.
Stale. Okay.
Finale
I broke it.
cookie.
Is that bad
Do you
luck?
want to call it? You want me to call it?
I'm not good at calling it.
I know you always
Yeah.
get really weird. He's like,
Yeah.
I think if what you have on right now. I'm like, what?
I'm not
I'm
good
like,
at
he's like cheesecake.
Okay,
What?
call it.
There's a tank top.
Her future in ministry in 2020.
Okay.
Ooh.
Wow.
You should have just called it because that was kind of yours last week,
Oh yeah.
last year, whatever.
Be broke or be wealthy, but never accept Well, they spelled mediocrity wrong, but yes. So let me say it again as
So
if
all
it's
that
spelled right. Be
counts.
broke or be wealthy, but never accept mediocrity.
Mediocrity. Let's
Wow.
go.
But they said mediocity.
that too.
It's a good city.
Maybe you shouldn't accept that either.
No.
What's crazy is this is a mediocre fortune because it's spelled wrong. So I don't know if I can take the
Oh my
advice.
goodness.
But being integrous,
Yeah.
she will
Yes.
not be mediocris.
I will not be.
Mediocration. Mediatitis.
Mediocre.
That's what happens when you too much on social media. You have mediatitis.
Yeah, media. That's good.
I feel
yeah,
like
so
I
go
have
back and watch
that.
that
You
episode.
have, like,
episode 6.
Swollen
Yeah.
fingers and thumbs. Media
Wow.
thumbness.
What a good cookie.
What a good cookie.
It's a good cookie.
Thank you so much for watching this season. If you liked, subscribe. If you liked, please share right now. Encourage people to come along and listen to these quarantine conversations specifically designed for you watching at home during this time of unrest and social distancing. Hopefully we can be together super soon.
Yes,
we
please.
love you guys and we miss you guys. Thank you so much for being with us this season. Until the next one.
Until we meet again.
Man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.